Kundalini literally translates into snake or serpent power. These serpents are climbing our spinal staff, making the symbolic caduceus. The third eye chakra is often symbolized by placing a dot on the forehead. Illuminating the third eye chakra will in turn burst open the crown chakra. The Native American Indian chief wears a feather headdress to symbolize this. The headdress is a representation of his crown chakra being wide open. This is symbolized often in different traditions. Here in Christianity, we see this crown chakra open, symbolized by placing a shell behind his head. In the story of the Pentecost, the Holy Spirit comes down onto man and rests over the heads of the people in the temple. The Holy Spirit, represented as a flame, is symbolic of crown chakra illumination. DMT is the most psychedelic substance known to man, and it is produced naturally in our bodies. Dr. Rick Strassman, author of DMT, the Spirit Molecule, was, at the time his research began, the first doctor allowed to perform psychedelic or entheogenic studies in the U.S. for over 20 years. With intravenous DMT injection, Strassman was able to recreate, unintentionally of course, the alien abduction experience, as well as many levels of out-of-body and religious experiences in the clinical setting.
These same chemical compounds can be found in the excretions of a Bufo alivarius toad. These excretions were dried and then smoked, and the effects were extremely psychedelic. And then there is ayahuasca. This is a brew made from a combination of two plants found in the Amazon. One contains DMT, but when it is consumed, our bodies break it down before this chemical makes it into our bloodstream. The shaman then found an MAO inhibitor, allowing the DMT to pass into the bloodstream without being destroyed in the gut. And if you ask the Amazonian shaman how they learned to combine these plants to achieve this, they would likely answer that the plants taught them. More than likely it was discovered in a salad-like mixture. Four LSD-like compounds exist naturally in the human brain. This is from the Boston Globe. In our bodies, we have wings above our spinal staff. This darkened area looking like wings is the ventricle system of the brain. The ventricle system in the brain is a series of cavities and chambers that allow cerebral spinal fluid to flow around the brain. Cerebral spinal fluid is the fluid that the brain floats in to protect itself from injury, and cerebral spinal fluid does indeed contain DMT. In Egyptian mythology, the eye of Horus was pulled or plucked from the head of Horus by his brother Set. Now we can begin to understand from where this symbol of the Eye of Horus came. It is literally the third eye system inside the human brain. The one eye of Horus represents internal vision. And this internal vision, or this internal third eye, is opened by these mystifying substances found within the mushrooms and within these naturally occurring chemicals within our brains. This visual symbolic representation has an actual purpose, and that's why it is portrayed in such a particular way. A symbol can be true on many scales, and each has its different levels of meanings to the different groups who employ them. You could consider a simple triangle, and the many degrees of understanding that this particular simple symbol can hold. With keys like this, you can unlock the most elaborate alchemical artwork and decipher its meaning. And through this natural progression, it would make sense to create a character or a deity full of characteristics that represent greater things than the symbol itself. This nonverbal knowledge has been passed down via symbolism, artwork, deities. It's been written in the stars and hidden in plain sight. And all of it is there just waiting for us to come along and claim ownership to our inheritance.
If then we project the Essenism of Qumran forward in time and place, from the Dead Sea Scrolls to the New Testament, we can see a clear line of theological speculation which transformed an exclusive Jewish sectarianism into a Hellenistic mystery religion which could attract the allegiance of all men, Jew or Gentile, bond or free. But the kind of Christianity we arrive at is that not of a faith committed to the historicity of Jesus and the gospel tradition, and the imposition of a single canon and a tyrannical creed, but to that Gnostic heresy whose essential individualism was so abhorred by the so-called Great Church, and which became the target of a persecution no less ruthless than that of the movement's first political and religious enemies. And to judge from the Church's subsequent history, as well as the illegitimacy of its claims to primacy, one can't help feeling that the wrong side won.